Game art is a visual style inspired by video games. Elements of games can be found everywhere in advertising, in the film industry, and in amateur projects on YouTube. It's time to remember the book by Roger Caillou, Games and People, which is dedicated to the importance of games for humans from the earliest stages of the evolution of the species. Therefore, it is worth paying special attention to this style as an illustration of a new turn in visual culture. Features that easily catch your eye as belonging to game aesthetics are pixel graphics, camera angle, level progression, and others. Pixel graphics can become part of a music video, and the original first-person camera angle, typical for shooters, can become the basis for the visual narrative of an entire movie. The most notable example, Ney Schuller's Hardcore Henry, was entirely shot from that perspective. There is also a classic adaptation of the game's level progression structure, a simulation of death renewal cycles, where the player learns new information and/or improves his skills each time. In the movie Free Guy, the main character is not an unreal person, he is NPS, character of the game. Some graphic styles that emerged in the video game industry in the new century began to go beyond it and became part of the field of modern visual. A media archaeological impulse and a nostalgic note are set in digital primitivism by projects involving the use of pixel graphics, 8-bit or 16-bit aesthetics, voxel graphics, and low poly. The 8-bit aesthetic for the 1890s generation reads like an innocent and naive desire to return to a digital childhood, to the era of Pac-Man and Tetris. Another, more interesting function of pixelization is to mark the transitional state or permanent disembodiment of the whole, its disintegration into single elements, and the instantaneous construction of a new whole, completely different but consisting of the same pixel squares. This characteristic of pixels as a representative form of cultural transition is demonstrated by a very remarkable work called The Wave of Future. It is a remake of Hokusai's The Great Wave of Kanagawa. The poster by an unknown artist was produced in the early 1990s by the Boston Computer Museum and the High Tech Times magazine. The left side of the poster accurately reproduces the engraved wave of the Japanese original. In the middle, the image breaks up into colored pixels, and on the right side, a new large wave appears, made in the form of a digital wireframe, which is the basis of 3D computer graphics. The pixel noise between the two waves seems to represent the era of the transformation of traditional painting into computer graphics. Using a reference to Hokusai's idea of the relation of human skill and will to the forces of nature, the work builds a chain of representational paradigms. The power and strength of the natural world is represented by the artist's art. Then we see technological modification of his work, first roughly with low resolution, then more qualitatively, showing the result reflecting and virtualizing nature, and the rest of the real reality. eBoy is an art group founded in 1997, specializing exclusively in 8-bit drawings. They have worked with brands such as Coca-Cola, MTV, Adidas, and Honda, and they also created the covers for the studio album Groove Armada and the Wombats. One more interesting artist is Space Invader, one of the representatives of French street art. Invader's significance lies in the fact that he has created a large number of popular mosaic compositions around the world in an 8-bit aesthetic dedicated to the computer game Space Invaders. The unusual works of the Russian artist Yuna Morales combine seemingly incompatible things: the traditions of Western European engravings, compositional solutions of the American School of Illustration, motifs of Japanese anime and the atmosphere of modern Russia. Several music video works using pixel art.
As a pretty, as a the band, lowercase, letter S, spray painted red. It's spray painted red. Yeah, your little arms swing on monkey bars in search of applause like pixelate.
Another important visual platform for the author's self-expression are the titles. The credits for the Canadian mockumentary television series Nirvana, The Band, The Show. Expectedly, a similar style can be found in the credits of all movies and cartoons, where the story is based on game worlds and characters. Lego City, Ralph vs. the Internet, Pixels. Voxel graphic. Voxels introduce change of two-dimensional pixels to three-dimensional space. In three-dimensional raster graphics, space is divided into columns and rows in three directions: height, width, depth. Each voxel is defined by color and location. One of the most famous voxel artists is Sir Karma, and here is an example of voxel graphics in the credits of the author's film How Video Games Changed the World by the screenwriter of the Black Mirror series. Low poly. Low poly is a kind of graphics that has been modified from the basic, technically imperfect graphics of three-dimensional games into the category of artistic style. It has formed a recognizable, attractive, and unique geometric aesthetic image. The construction of images in low poly is based on small number of polygons. The concept of this aesthetic originated in 3D modeling, where low poly models were used to save resources. Despite the fact that the basis for the image in this style is a simple geometry, it is processed at ultra-high resolution. Moreover, there are flat color overlay complex effects and textures, mirroring, refraction, lighting, and others. In this way, low poly artists combine low object elaboration with high processing to create a highly artistic image. As for cinematography, the most popular elements of games are the progress bar of life, points in the context of achievements, player marker, rating. An iconic work with game art elements is the short futuristic film by Daniel Lazo, and the already mentioned by us in relation to other styles, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Even more popular are the imitations and transfer of famous retro games to movies: Pac-Man, Super Mario, Minecraft, Mortal Kombat, and GTA. mature authors, the choice of this style can be explained by nostalgic motives. For young, a manifestation of retromania, characteristic of the meta-modernist sensibility. Examples of advertising: a barbershop and pizza delivery.
Park your nodes on the seat. Pick a style, any style.
Геймер всегда остается геймером, поэтому Додо всегда в игре.
Додо.
The reverse situation, when a living person becomes a part of all the well-known game.